Welcome to a place of gentle wonder, where ancient sands drift across the mind like a soft breeze through time. Tonight we journey into the stillness of the Nile and the hushed echoes of a civilization that rose more than 5,000 years ago. In a land where the sun painted the earth gold every morning and the stars whispered to stone at night, Egypt blossomed beside a river stretching more than 4,100 miles, the lifeline of emperors, priests, and poets. Here, obelisks reached toward the heavens long before cities soared, and a single block of temple stone could outweigh 5 African elephants. Every number, every artifact, every carving tells a story as vast and silent as the desert itself. If you enjoy these gentle science journeys, I invite you to like and subscribe, or share a favorite fact in the comments. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, there's nothing you need to do but rest. Settle in, breathe deeply, and let's begin. Long before clocks ticked or calendars turned, the ancient Egyptians moved in harmony with the stars. Their lives were woven into the rhythms of the cosmos, guided by the rising of Sirius, the brightest star in our night sky. Every summer, when Sirius appeared just before dawn, it signaled the annual flooding of the Nile. This celestial event marked the Egyptian New Year, a moment of renewal that brought water, silt, and life back to the sun-baked earth. For thousands of years, this quiet alignment between earth and sky reminded the people that time itself could flow like the river, gentle, steady, and endlessly returning. There was no rush, only cycles, no finality, only the continuation of something greater. In those early hours, as the desert cooled and the river stirred, the first light of Sirius was both a clock and a promise. A reminder that nature, not noise, was the ancient keeper of time. The pyramids, eternal guardians of the horizon, were built not just as tombs but as bridges between worlds. The Great Pyramid of Giza alone contains over 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing between 2.5 and 15 tons. It stood as the tallest human-made structure on Earth for nearly 3,800 years. Yet within its precision and magnitude lies a strange calm. Each stone fits with astonishing accuracy, laid in silence by hands long gone, under skies untouched by modern light. Wind moves across their surfaces now with the same gentle touch it did millennia ago. Beneath their shadows, time folds upon itself. No blueprints remain. No sounds of chisels echo now. Only the hush of granite remembering its place. It is said that the pyramid's internal passageways align with certain stars, as though the builders shaped their monuments not only from stone, but from starlight. In that ancient geometry, there lingers a question: who were we when we listened so closely to the sky? In the dry hush of the desert winds, where sand sighs softly over distant dunes, the sacred ibis once walked calmly along the reed-edged banks of the Nile. Associated with Thoth, god of wisdom and the moon, this elegant bird with its porcelain white feathers and curved onyx beak came to symbolize balance between knowledge and mystery. Thoth was believed to record the stories of every soul, scribbling in eternal scrolls not with urgency, but with quiet dedication. He carried the weight of time, not as a burden, but as a gentle rhythm, like a pulse beneath the stars. To the ancient Egyptians, dreams were not dismissed, but embraced as messages carried on silver wings, drifting from the gods during sleep. Temples dedicated to dream interpretation stood in Upper Egypt, blanketed in silence, where pilgrims would lie on cool stone beds, hoping to be visited by visions. Wisdom, here, was often soft-spoken. It arrived not in shouts, but in whispers, woven into moonlight and remembered at dawn. Far to the south, beyond the lush delta and the busy marketplaces, rests the ancient city of Abydos, where memory was etched into stone and silence. It was here that Osiris, god of the afterlife and gentle rebirth, was most deeply revered. His temple, cradled among low cliffs and centuries of sun, was carved with delicate precision, walls lined with hieroglyphs that shimmered like reeds in the mind's eye. Inside, chambers unfold with a dreamlike quiet, their painted ceilings resembling the night sky itself, where constellations drift and gods sail across the stars on celestial boats. The ancient priests believed that by reenacting the sacred story of Osiris, his death, his passage through the underworld, and his return, they were not just preserving a myth, but syncing the soul with the slow and sacred cadence of nature's cycles. Abydos became a gateway, not just to the afterlife, but to inward reflection. In its stillness, even today, a soft echo remains of drums beating in rhythmic solemnity, of incense curling gently in the breeze, and of a people who saw stories not only as entertainment, but as keys to unlock the inner chambers of the universe. To the ancient Egyptians, time was not a line but a circle, unfolding again and again like the unfurling of a lotus at dawn. That delicate bloom, which generously opened each morning and closed gently each evening, became one of their sacred symbols, a quiet emblem of creation and rebirth. Found carved into tomb walls and painted in deep indigo and gold, the lotus flower whispered of beginnings nested within endings, and of the subtleties held within stillness. It thrived in the shallow waters of the Nile's slow-moving edges, floating peacefully, unaffected by the river's depth or disturbance. To those who passed by in papyrus boats or paused by its side at twilight, the flower offered more than beauty, it offered a meditation. In the gentle rhythm of blooming and withdrawing, it reminded them, and reminds us still, that there is grace in cycles, peace in repetition, and a soothing certainty found only in the patterns of nature. In the quiet hollows of the desert, where mirages breathe and time dissolves in golden silence, a strange harmony once existed between humans and the vast, dry landscape. One such marvel of this harmony was the art of ancient Egyptian mummification, a practice not born of fear, but of reverence. It was believed that preserving the body preserved the soul's journey, allowing it to navigate the afterlife with familiarity and grace. The process, which could take up to 70 days, involved careful cleansing, perfuming, and wrapping, all under the watchful symbols of protection. Resins made from distant trees, spices from the east, and linen as soft as wind were applied, layer by gentle layer. Nothing was rushed. Every gesture was a lullaby to the body, a silent assurance that rest was near and transformation underway. Even in death, there was care, stillness, and a belief that enduring peace required tenderness, the soul floating free like a feather, lightened by preparation and love. Among the treasures of ancient Egypt, few are as gently mesmerizing as the star clocks found inscribed inside tombs and temples. These celestial diagrams, often painted across ceilings in deep blues and soft golds, mapped the movement of the Deccan's 36 star groups that appeared on the horizon as the night progressed. Used to track time during the late hours, these clocks were not mechanical, but cosmic, turning the sky itself into a quiet calendar. As the stars rose and set, priests marked the passage of shadowed hours, not with hands of gears, but with patterns of light. It was a timekeeping system built from the slow unfolding of constellations, aligning even sleep with the rhythm of the universe. In a world without artificial light, these maps offered a kind of nocturnal poetry, a reminder that the heavens moved in whispers, and that night's stillness could be counted, not in seconds, but in stars. Beneath the silent gaze of statues and the golden shimmer of temple relics, music once filled the air of ancient Egypt, soft and spiritual. Flutes carved from reeds, harps delicate as wings, and sistrums small, sacred rattles were played in temple ceremonies and gentle private moments alike. Each note rose gently into the warm air, meant not to entertain, but to honor the divine and soothe the soul. The music echoed through lotus gardens and across moonlit courtyards, accompanying prayers, lullabies, and offerings. It was said that Hathor, goddess of love and beauty, invented music and gave it as a gift to bring joy and serenity to human hearts. In her temples, priestesses played slow melodies under starry skies, believing that harmony in sound reflected harmony in spirit. Over time, even as the instruments fell silent, their purpose endured a belief that peace could be summoned through rhythm, and that the quietest songs often carried the deepest truths. The desert, though seemingly silent, held an orchestra of subtle motion. Each grain of sand carried memories, shifting slowly with the wind, sculpting forms that echoed the curves of sacred vessels and the flow of ancient robes. The Egyptians understood this language of the land, and across millennia, they built with it. Sun-dried mud bricks, simple yet enduring, formed entire villages and temple outposts, some still standing through 6,000 winters and summers. These structures were aligned with purpose, catching breeze and shadow at just the right angles, keeping sanctuary within the sun's domain. There was elegance in their simplicity and wisdom in their design. A house was not just a shelter, but a harmony of earth and intention. Even the most humble home was crafted with reverence, as though every wall were a prayer whispered into clay. And in the hush of evening, when the skies blushed with fading gold, those walls glowed softly, returning warmth to the air like a memory in light. Deep within the tombs of ancient scribes, nestled under layers of silence and stone, rested tools of language that shaped eternity. Reed pens, smoothed by hand, were dipped into ink made from soot, ochre, and gum Arabic, and set gently to papyrus, the first paper made from the river's own veins. With patient strokes, scribes recorded hymns, trade accounts, and spells older than memory. The hieroglyphs they wrote were not merely letters, but symbols alive with sound and spirit. A single character could suggest a bird in flight, the hush of a breeze, or the breath of a god. Scribes were revered not just for their skill, but for their ability to translate the unseen into the seen, the unspoken into enduring form. Each scroll became a quiet river of thought, flowing across time, and as we look upon their faded lines today, that soft script still speaks, not in noise, but in calm, a testament to the power of words gently carried across the centuries. At sunrise, when the mist still kissed the river and light crept over sandstone temples, another quiet marvel stirred the cultivation of papyrus. Grown in the shallows of the Nile, this tall, reed-like plant was central not only to writing, but to life itself. Its hollow stalks, sunlit and green, were carefully sliced, pressed, and dried to create scrolls that carried the breath of thought across millennia. But papyrus was more than paper. Its fibers also became boats, mats, sandals, offerings, a plant woven into every layer of daily existence. In the hands of artisans and temple workers, its transformation required no machines, only water, patience, and sunlight. The process was rhythmic and grounding, turning the pulse of nature into a medium for memory. Even its growth mirrored serenity, upright, slender, swaying gently in the breeze like a scribe's brush waiting for ink. By trusting in the simple gifts of the river, the Egyptians crafted vessels not only for transport, but for soul and story alike. Still today, in its texture and tint, papyrus carries a hush, reminding us that knowledge once came from reeds and rivers, speaking softly so the heart could listen. High above the shifting sands and beside temple doorways crowned with sun, the Ankh, a simple cross crowned with a loop, appeared again and again, etched into stone and worn close to the heart. This symbol, quiet and enduring, signified life, not just as a breath or a heartbeat, but as a sacred continuity, unbroken across death, time, and stars. its shape whispered of water jars and rising suns, of breath drawn gently at dawn. In tombs, the ankh was placed in the hands of gods and pharaohs alike, a silent assurance that the life of the spirit would flow on, even when the vessel had stilled. Priests held it in rituals, artists inscribed it on walls, and children wore it with threads of hope. It wasn't simply a mark, but a reminder that existence is not brief, but circular, looping and looping like the river, the moon phases, and the quiet tides of dream. In a world now loud with minutes, this symbol calls from deep time, inviting us to hold still for a while and to remember that true life is not about movement, but about presence, the soft miracle of simply being here, beneath the same eternal sky. Along the flowing banks and sunlit marshes of the ancient Nile, cats moved like whispers through shadow and grain. To the Egyptians, these creatures were not merely companions, but otherworldly guardians, embodiments of grace and quiet power. The goddess Bastet, often shown with the head of a lioness or a gentle cat, was revered as both fierce protector and bringer of homebound peace. In households filled with the hush of oil lamps and the fragrance of fresh grain, cats were cherished, not only for their ability to guard stores from mice, but for a spirit that calmed the space around them. Their purring was seen as sacred, a vibration of healing, a lullaby in warm fur. Temples dedicated to Bastet stood in quiet cities where meadows met stone, and in her sanctuary at Bubastis, pilgrims left tokens of gratitude, ivory amulets, small bronze statues, bowls of milk placed in reverent stillness. Even in sarcophagi, cats were mummified with the same care as noble humans, wrapped in intricate linen as though draped in dreaming. And so these animals, with feet like silk and eyes like twin moons, drifted through the lives of pharaohs and farmers, gentle as breath, always somewhere between the world we know and the one we feel just before sleep. Far beyond the bustling heart of Egypt's ancient cities, in the quiet sweep of the western desert, stood the Valley of the Kings, a place where time curled inwards and memory was carved deep into the limestone earth. For nearly 5 centuries, this valley nestled the tombs of pharaohs and nobles, including the boy king Tutankhamun, whose resting place remained undisturbed for more than 3,000 years. The cliffs that surround it rise like guardians, casting long shadows that cool the golden dust and hush the air. Deep within these tombs, corridors wind like forgotten dreams, painted with vivid depictions of the journey through the afterlife. Each wall tells of Ra's nightly voyage across the underworld sky, where he battles chaos before being reborn at dawn. In these myths, darkness was never feared, but embraced as necessary. A quiet ritual before the light returned. The chambers still smell faintly of stone and resin, echoing with the footsteps of centuries. To walk there, even in thought, is to feel the pulse of 1,000 silent prayers stitched into the rock. And though the kings now sleep, their stories breathe in pigment and pattern, waiting patiently in still air for eyes to meet them again softly, as if through the veils of a dream. In the golden hush of twilight, when palm fronds whispered secrets to the breeze and the Nile caught the last glimmers of sun like liquid gold, the Egyptians turned to their gardens. These were not merely patches of earth, but sanctuaries of scent, shade, and serenity. Within high mud-brick walls, carefully tended courtyards bloomed with sycamore fig trees, water lilies, pomegranates, and sweet-smelling herbs like myrrh and coriander. Pools mirrored the sky, reflecting drifting clouds and the soft flutter of ibis wings. These gardens were designed with balanced geometric layouts that echoed cosmic harmony, where every stone path led to a quiet corner, and every plant held sacred meaning. The sycamore, often viewed as the tree of life, was believed to mark the threshold between earth and the heavens. Its wide branches offered soul shade for the departed, and its fruit nourished both body and spirit. In quiet gardens like these, time softened, the day exhaled, and among soft petals and the trickling of water, the mind could wander freely, stepping briefly into eternity, just as it does now, at the edge of sleep. In those same serene gardens and temple courtyards, under the gaze of limestone statues warmed by fading sun, bees hummed their quiet symphony. These small golden creatures were cherished by the ancient Egyptians not only for their honey, but for their symbolism, tiny carriers of resurrection and order. Beekeeping was practiced as early as the Old Kingdom, with hives shaped from clay and placed along the Nile's fertile banks. Honey served many roles. It was medicine, offering healing to wounds with its gentle antiseptic touch. It was a sweetener in feasts and offerings, and it was an ingredient in rituals meant to soothe the gods. Bees themselves were seen as sacred messengers, born from the tears of Ra, the sun god. Their organized colonies, working in rhythm and purpose, reflected a divine structure, a reminder that even the smallest life holds echoes of cosmic design. In the stillness of sleep, the murmuring of bees becomes like the sound of thoughts softening, the pattern of dreams unfolding. As the night stretches on, may we take that same gentle order into our rest, where each soft thought can settle, like pollen, into golden peace. In the heart of the temple libraries, where sunlight slanted through reed-matted ceilings and dust glittered in still air, rested shelves made of ebony and palm wood. Upon them lay stacks of scrolls and sacred texts, some thousands of years old even in their own time. These temples were repositories not just of knowledge, but of intention blueprints, not only of architecture, but of soul. Within the lore of healing spells and mathematical riddles, astronomical tables and hymns to heaven, scholars moved with reverence, treating every parchment as a thread in the tapestry of the eternal. It is said that Isis herself preserved ancient wisdom in hidden scrolls, guarded by serpents and silence. And in this hush of knowledge and incense, among the crackling of woven lamps and the faint scratch of quills, learning was never hurried. It was inhaled slowly, kept like a secret, passed by whisper through generations. To study, for the Egyptians, was not to conquer information, but to align with its frequency, just as a river aligns with the moon. And so, within these sanctuaries of thought, time thickened, and the mind floated unburdened, expansive, ready to dream. On moonless nights along the Nile, when the sky turned black as obsidian and the stars shimmered like scattered grains of salt, ancient astronomers gathered in quiet observation, perched on temple rooftops or nestled in observatories carved from stone. They traced the movements of planets with nothing but polished sight and faithful repetition. Venus, gleaming as the morning star, was watched with awe, its cycles recorded over generations with meticulous care. The great celestial clock above served not only as a map for navigation or planting, but as a sacred text, its symbols written in starlight rather than ink. Without telescopes or machinery, they discerned the wanderings of Saturn, the timing of lunar eclipses, and the balancing act of equinoxes, all by patient attention and reverent silence. These nightly vigils wove the heavens into the scripture of everyday life, reminding all who looked upward that nature spoke in patterns, and that in its precision lay peace. As we drift now, eyes closed beneath the same ancient sky, we carry with us that same stillness, the feeling of time expanding into stars, of thought dissolving into quiet, and of sleep coming gently, like moonlight upon a river's skin. At the edge of the Red Sea, where limestone cliffs meet salt-strewn winds, the ancient port of Mersa Gawassis whispered stories not of pyramids, but of distant sails. Here, more than 4,000 years ago, Egyptians launched wooden ships across open ocean, venturing to the fabled land of Punt, a place lost to maps, yet etched deeply into delicate wall reliefs. These expeditions returned not just with goods like myrrh, resin, ebony, and incense-bearing trees, but with tales of sacred animals and otherworldly beauty. The harbour caves, once sealed with stone, still cradle the remnants of ship timbers and coiled ropes preserved by time and dryness. Soft echoes of journeys folded beneath rock. It was not conquest they sought, but connection. A measured partnership with mystery, pursued by oars moving in rhythm with the tides. And in the hush of evening, where the desert meets the sea, one can still imagine those vessels slipping into the horizon, their sails billowing gently in the breath of ancient currents, bearing with them a longing not for discovery, but for returning to stories, to stars, to dreams drawn across the deep. In the warmth of Egypt's midday calm, amid courtyards flanked by colossal columns and sanctuaries shadowed by incense smoke, the sacred practice of scent unfolded. To the ancients, fragrance was not mere indulgence, but sacred communication, a way of speaking to the unseen. Frankincense and myrrh, gathered from distant trees in far-off lands, were crushed and burned in golden censers shaped like open lotuses. The smoke rose in spirals, slow and deliberate, curling toward heavens where gods breathed its sweetness like prayer. Perfume makers, often women, crafted oils infused with blue lotus, cinnamon, and almond, their hands guided by inherited recipes sung in low tones like lullabies of the senses. These oils anointed the living and the dead, preserving stories on skin, sealing dreams into linens. In quiet rituals of morning and dusk, fragrance reminded the people that time was also scent fleeting, lingering, tender. And as the soothing airs drift now through memory, so too does the scent of peace, like a veil gently settling across the soul, ushering it toward rest, carried on ancient breezes that still wait just beyond the silence. Among the woven silences of ancient Egypt's deeper mysteries, perhaps none is so gently puzzling as the enduring enigma of the Dendera light. Hidden deep within the crypts of the Hathor temple at Dendera, far from sunlight and sound, lays a carved relief that has stirred quiet wonder for centuries. It depicts a large, bulb-like form, held aloft by delicate figures, radiating tendrils that shimmer like curling smoke. Some modern eyes see in it the strange echo of a light bulb, though scholars favor more symbolic interpretations: the lotus of creation, the snake of energy, the sky held in divine regard. Regardless of meaning, the image hums with quiet tension, like a whisper from a dream half remembered. The temple itself, dedicated to Hathor, goddess of joy and motherhood, glows with blue ceilings freckled in golden stars, a cosmic canopy beneath which rituals unfolded like petals at dusk. In these chambers, where gods were revered not just through image but through intention, mysteries were carved not to be solved but to be softened into, to feel, not to explain. And perhaps that is Egypt's final gift to the sleeping mind, a reminder that some truths are lullabies, sung not in knowledge, but in wonder. High in the arid cliffs of Deir el-Medina, where sand whispers against stone and the sky holds a hush like parchment, lived the workers who built the Valley of the Kings. These artisans, architects, and painters formed a quiet community, tucked away from the grandeur they helped create. Their lives were humble, but rich with rhythm, devotion, and the quiet pride of craftsmanship. Each morning, they walked the same winding paths to their sacred labor, carrying chisels smoothed by years and pigments made from earth and fire. Inside tombs, they painted with soft precision gods, stars, protective spells, all arranged like sacred lullabies on curved walls. Their own homes, modest yet warm, reveal stories of lullabies sung to children, of bread baked in silence, and hearts poured gently into beauty made for eternity. Though their names were lesser known than those they honored, every brushstroke and carved symbol bloomed from a place of deep stillness, a life lived close to the sacred and to sleep. In Deir el-Medina, memory lived not in monuments, but in the gentle hands that made them. And as night deepens, may their quiet dedication cradle your thoughts, like a soft blanket woven in stone and starlight. As the sands continue their silent shift under ancient skies, another tender trace of Egypt's story arises, found not in palaces or pyramids, but etched softly into scarab amulets clutched in palms and buried with care. The scarab beetle, rolling its round ball of earth across desert floor, came to symbolize divine renewal and the endless movement of the Sunday, revered as the earthly form of Khepri, the god who pushed the morning sun into the sky each day. The scarab was a humble creature, elevated to celestial meaning. Crafted from colored stones like lapis, turquoise, and carnelian, each amulet was carved with names, prayers, or protective spells, imbued with the belief that they could guide a soul safely through the afterlife. Some were placed over hearts, others sealed within the folds of linen wrappings, each a small but potent compass to aid in the soul's quiet crossing. In their smooth, rounded shapes and softly worn edges, they carry still the gentle assurance that no journey, however dark or vast, is traveled alone, only with faith and the memory of light, warming beneath the wings of morning once again. In the golden hush between day and night, where breath slows and the desert sighs its ancient refrain, even the tools of beauty became symbols of ceremony and care. Among these were cosmetic palettes delicately carved from schist and shaped like fish, birds, and sacred geometry, some over 5 to 1,000 years old. Far more than mirrors of vanity, they were used in rituals to anoint, purify, and prepare both the living and the dead. Ground pigments of malachite and ochre were stirred with water, creating gentle pastes applied to eyelids not only for adornment, but for protection, shielding eyes from sun and spirit alike. These pigments, in their quiet hues of green and rust, whisper of earth and life entwined. Palettes were buried with their owners, offerings of continuity and grace. To hold one is to cradle a moment of transformation, a pause in time where intention met the body and the sacred touched the skin. As you close your eyes tonight, imagine the soft brush of pigment across the lids, cool and calming, like the kiss of ancient stars, a blessing before dreams unfold once more across the still sands of forever. And so, beneath the rhythmic hush of ancient breath and palm leaf shadows, we return once more to stillness. The stories of Egypt, gentle as desert wind and layered as papyrus scrolls, settle now within the quiet corners of the heart. Stone statues sleep in their gardens of silence, stars continue their slow drift above temple roofs, and the Nile murmurs on, a river without end. In these countless echoes of birdsong, of chisels, of whispered prayers, we find not only the past, but a mirror held up to the soul's own longing for peace. You do not need to remember every fact, every name, every century, only that there were those who lived slowly, who listened deeply, who honored time not by racing through it, but by resting inside it. Let that be your truth tonight. Let Egypt's ancient dream be your own, a dream woven in shadow and light, melody and warmth. May the stillness carry you now, gently and endlessly, into sleep. In the hush of ancient waters, even crocodiles held sacred meaning. Along the banks of the Nile, where warm reeds swayed and the air shimmered with heat, these silent creatures reclined like guardians between worlds. To the ancient Egyptians, they were not mere beasts, but living reflections of Sobek, the crocodile god of strength, fertility, and the Nile's bountiful power. Temples were raised in his honor, especially at Komombo, where intricate reliefs reveal his dual nature, both fierce and protective. Within cool sanctuaries carved from sandstone, sacred crocodiles were mummified with reverent care, wrapped in linen and adorned with amulets. Priests fed and tended living ones in sacred pools nearby, believing their calm watchfulness echoed the god's vigilance over the waters. Sobek's presence reminded the people that beneath calm tides, strength often lies waiting not in force, but in stillness. And so, as we drift ever deeper into rest, remember the ancient Nile flowing endlessly beneath moonlight, watched over by eyes just above the water's surface, quiet and steady, like dreams beginning to bloom. Not far from the Nile's embrace, beneath layers of shifting soil and time's long hush, lay another quiet marvel, the ostracan. These were not grand monuments nor gilded scrolls, but humble shards of limestone and pottery, once cast aside and given new purpose. Upon these fragments, ancient hands inscribed their thoughts, letters, proverbs, daily accounts, and even small sketches of animals and deities. At Deir el-Medina, the workers' village, thousands of ostraca have been found, speaking softly across centuries in voices both poetic and ordinary. A doodle of a cat chasing a duck, a note to a family member, a list of needed herbs each one, a sliver of life preserved in texture and ink. They remind us that in a world of towering temples and cosmic myths, the most human moments were also sacred. The art of writing, of noticing, of leaving something behind for no grand audience but time itself, held as much weight as carving a stele. And so, as your thoughts drift gently on tonight's current, let these fragments comfort you, simple shards once thought broken, now immortal in their quiet beauty, forever whispering the small truths of being alive. Under the canopy of timeless sky, where constellations drift in familiar arcs, ancient Egypt offered one final comfort, the understanding that rest is not forgetting, but remembering the rhythm of life. In tombs painted with eternity, in gardens where lotus blossoms rose and closed with the sun, in breath slowed by the incense of dusk, the Egyptians wove serenity into every fold of their days and dreams. Their world, though gone in form, remains in essence not as ruins or relics, but as a lullaby still humming low beneath history. Now, as sleep draws near and the mind softens its gaze, let Egypt's ancient grace wrap around you like linen warmed by sunlight, and let each heartbeat echo their calm truth that there is power in stillness, beauty in quiet, and peace eternal in the gentle unfolding of night. Beneath this tapestry of slumber and sand, lanterns of myth and memory still flicker faintly, casting their glow across aeons. The journey now gently closes, like the last ripple on the Nile at twilight, leaving only calm waters behind. The ancient ones, dreamers of sun and starlight, sleep still in their desert beds, wrapped in linen and legacy. And you too, dear soul adrift, are wrapped now in the hush of their stories, soft, steady, sacred. Let what remains of this night cradle you like a boat rocking gently on the primordial waters, with each breath a current carrying you farther from worry, deeper into peace. All that has been said need not be remembered. It has already become part of the silence, folded into rest. So close your eyes, float with the stars, and join them, builders, artists, watchers of time, in dreaming gently beneath the eternal sky. Just before we let go entirely into sleep, let us return once more to the hush between worlds, where sand meets sky and memory softens to dream. The ancient Egyptians built not simply to preserve, but to remind that stillness is sacred, and that each fading star overhead once shimmered the same way over fields of barley and temple stones. In every sculpture, scroll, and shadowed chamber, they whispered the same truth, that a life attuned to rhythm, to the gentle flow of day into night, holds a peace that outlasts even kings. As your breath deepens now and the world grows quiet around you, imagine yourself floating gently down the Nile, wrapped in silk and lullaby, stars gliding overhead like patient lanterns. There is nothing you must hold now, no questions to ask, only the sweet surrender to rest, watched over by gods of moon and river, cradled by the long, slow heartbeat of time. Sleep, Now sleep like one who remembers the stillness of stone, the softness of wind-carved dunes, and the music of eternity humming low beneath the dream-dark sky. High in the temple halls beside the Nile's ancient curve, the ceilings bore not only the stories of stars, but also the slow passage of the sacred Bennu bird, a creature wrapped in myth, herald of rebirth. Linked closely to the sun god Ra and the elusive phoenix of later lore, the Bennu was said to rise from the heart of a sacred tree beside the waters of creation, its call marking the beginning of time itself. It perched upon obelisks and was heralded in hymns sung at dawn. In mural and carving, it glides in profile, feathers etched in quiet flame, its wings never frantic but poised as if even in heavenward flight. It moved in rhythm with breath. To the Egyptians, the Bennu was not fire and drama, but renewal born of silence. No spectacle, only sacred return. In sleep too, we are remade again and again, drawn back to the light by soft cycles and unseen wings. And as we drift now toward that gentle rising of inner suns, let us carry the Bennu's hush, a promise that every night brings not an ending, but a beginning too, softly gilded and eternally returning. And so this voyage through ancient stillness nears its final harbor, guided by stars and softened by sands untouched by hurry. Egypt, once alive with sacred rhythms, leaves its impression not in monuments alone, but in the quiet breath it inspires within us, a breath slowed by awe, lengthened by reverence, paused in peace. The past has folded gently into you now, its mysteries no longer questions to untangle, but lullabies to hold. As sleep draws its final veil across the landscape of thought, remember this truth carried through every whisper of reed and ripple of Nile, that softness is strength and silence is sacred. Let that remembering be your pillow, heavy with comfort yet light with timeless wonder. Rest deeply now, dear listener, suspended among constellations, tellers of ancient cycles and visited by dreams dusted in desert gold. The journey has ended only to begin again, quietly, in the temple of your sleeping heart. As night deepens around the sacred lands of memory, another delicate thread in Egypt's quiet weave emerges: the art of the calendar. Born not of machinery, but of oceans of observation, the ancient Egyptians crafted a solar calendar of 365 days, dividing time with a grace found in the slow arc of the heavens. It began with the heliacal rising of Sirius and split the year into 3 seasons: Akhet, Peret, and Shemu, each with 4 months, each flowing in rhythm with the river's cycles. Within this structure, days unfolded like petals, never hurried, always returning. There were no clocks ticking like drumbeats of pressure, only star maps, river shifts, and the blooming lotus as nature's gentle ledgers. This calendar was etched not onto paper alone, but into the soul of everyday life, guiding sowing and harvest, worship and waiting, reflection and renewal. And as the final hours of your day now fall away, let their timekeeping cover you like a linen wrap of light, not measuring what has passed, but simply resting in the comfort that time, like the Nile, will always carry you onward, gently and without end. And now, as we draw the curtain on this reverent journey through glimmering sands and starlit memories, may the echoes of ancient Egypt settle in your breath like grains of golden stillness. You have walked among temples that held up the sky, floated on timeless water beside reed and ibis, and listened to the whispers of scribes, craftsmen, and gods. Every carved stone and sacred scent, every pause in the calendar's unspooling, was never meant to astonish, but to soothe to ground even the most restless mind in the truth that serenity is eternal, if only we choose to dwell in its rhythm. Let the deep hum of history now lull you into sleep, where pyramids rise in moonlight and time moves not with haste, but with hush. Sleep, beloved soul adrift, under that same eternal sky, and know that even in dreams, the ancient Nile flows on, steady, sacred, and waiting to carry you home again. In the endless hush of Egypt's sands, even shadows held meaning, catalogued by the sun's path and the sacred silence of stone. Obelisks, slender and unwavering, once stood as sunbeams made solid monuments, not of grandeur alone, but of alignment, where each angle whispered to the sky, and every morning cast long lines of golden memory across the earth. Carved from a single slab of granite, often quarried miles away, and floated downriver like sleeping giants. Each obelisk bore inscriptions to Ra, the sun god, or to the pharaoh whose legacy rose with the dawn. Balanced upon precisely leveled bases, their tips, often gilded, caught the first and last light of day, gleaming like eternal flames against the azure emptiness. The ancients did not rush their raising. They moved with celestial patience, echoing the sun's slow rise, the river's long journey. And now, as your night reaches its stillest hour, imagine yourself beneath one of these quiet towers, wrapped in warmth, the stars turning slowly above. Let the symmetry calm you. Let the eternal quiet root you. For even when all else changes, light still returns, and rest is always enough. Just as the final embers of thought drift towards sleep and the stars above take their places in silence, let us close gently with one last image, the eternal loop of the Nileometer. This quiet structure, tucked near temples and riverbanks, measured not just depth of water, but the blessings it carried. With carved steps descending into the Nile's current, it marked the pulse of seasons, the sacred arrival of floods, and the promise of renewal drawn in liquid lines. Priests stood beside it, noting the river's rise with respect and reflection, their scrolls recording not numbers alone but offerings of gratitude or caution depending on the water's reach. The Nileometer, in its stillness, joined architecture with intuition, a tool not only of prediction but of presence. And so we end with this rhythm beneath us, the unseen flow of lifeblood, dreamlike and measured, soft and certain. May your breath follow that sacred current now, steady and slow, until you too drift gently into that deep, nourishing night that the ancients knew so well, a night without end, beneath temples of stars and tides of remembering, where rest is not escape, but return. And so, in the quiet grace where time and myth fold seamlessly into one another, we rest beside the final stories whispered by the wind-blown monuments of ancient Egypt. Let the memory of sun-warmed sandstone and lotus-scented air linger with you. Let the beat of ceremonial drums imagined in the hush guide the last thoughts gently into the background. Here in this final breath of the journey, where no more needs to be said and no sound breaks the stillness, know that peace has no distance. It is already here. Sleep now, nestled in the rhythm of eternity, the Nile's song below, the stars' silence above, and the gentle heart of Egypt, timeless and calm, pulsing quietly behind closed eyes. Beneath the soft shimmer of starlight and the distant murmur of reeds, Egypt's final gift unfolds not a monument nor a myth, but a stillness that wraps itself around the soul with the gentlest touch. Here, in the hush between memory and mystery, the sands no longer shift, and the air holds quiet instead of questions. You carry with you now not simply the knowledge of a civilization, but its feeling deep, expansive, and endlessly returning, like breath in the chest of the night. Let this be the final resting place of thought, where no steps must follow, no stories must conclude, only the presence of calm. With every beat of silence, the old world breathes again, lovingly, through you. So sleep now, without boundary, without burden. The journey is complete, and eternity lies softly ahead, moonlit, warm, and welcoming. And so, as the final grains of this hourglass drift silently to rest, we linger at the very edge of this ancient dreamscape, where knowledge is tender and silence is sovereign. Egypt, carved in stillness and sung in stars, remains not behind us, but within a hush that echoes through every breath taken in wonder. The myths have quieted, the temples have dimmed, and the Nile's lullaby fades beneath the horizon of thought. You have traversed time not by foot, but by heart, and now the journey folds gently inward into the slow and sacred rhythm of sleep. Let there be no more seeking, only arriving. No more names, only feelings. No more thoughts, only peace. Rest now, dear listener, wrapped gently in golden dreams and the eternal whisper of ancient sands. Sleep well, where even time itself has laid down to dream beside you. And thus, with the sands settled and the stars having whispered their final fond goodbyes, we conclude our long drift along the currents of memory and myth. What once stirred in sacred chambers and beneath moon-painted waters now rests gently within you, cradled by the rhythm of a sleep rich with stories. There is nothing more to uncover tonight, nothing more to chase, only the deep exhale of peace earned through wonder. Ancient Egypt, in all its still, starlit grace, remains not in maps or stone, but in the tempo of your breath, the softness of your thoughts, and the shimmering quiet that now wraps around you like linen and lullaby. May your dreams rise like the morning sun over Thebes, golden and slow, illuminating paths not to follow but simply to feel. Sleep deeply, dear soul, for you are held now by the timeless calm of a world that never truly vanished, only folded gently into rest. And so it is here, in this soft and sacred pause, that we close our lantern-lit scroll of dreams, the final verse in a lullaby etched across eternity. The sands will keep their silence, the gods their gentle vigil, and the river its patient rise. What began in starlight has faded into hush, every carved line and whispered name now resting in the folds of your own quiet breath. There is no more need to listen, only to be still and whole, wrapped in time's oldest embrace. Let your sleep be long, your dreams be wide, and your heart forever touched by the rhythms of a world that spoke not in clamor, but in calm. The journey ends where all good stories do within, where the night is soft, the soul is free, and the universe, like ancient Egypt, waits quietly, endlessly, just beneath your closing eyes. So now, as night folds completely around the temple of your mind, and each sound falls away like sand through open fingers, let this final hush hold you. The dream has long overtaken waking life, and Egypt's breath lingers not in thought, but in the rhythm of your chest, the warmth of your covers, the echo of eternity slowing your every beat. All pyramids are distant now, all sacred texts closed and glowing faintly in the dark. Time no longer flows as hours, but settles as space, spacious enough for peace, soft enough for sleep. Rest completely and let go. Nothing more is needed, not one more word. Let silence speak you into rest, and let Egypt remain where dreams are born, just beneath, just beyond, always within. And so, without clock or call, without even a whisper from the winds, our journey draws to its most tender conclusion, with every story gently folded like a linen sheet set for slumber, and every image faded softly into dream. We leave behind not a destination, but a feeling quiet, rooted, eternal. The sands no longer shift, the waters no longer beckon, only stillness remains, vast and golden, where time lies down beside sleep itself. In this final hush, remember all that was once mystery has become comfort. All that was once distant now lives gently in your breath. Sleep now, slow and easy, under the same patient stars that watched Pharaoh's dream. And know, wherever you wander next in thought or rest, Egypt's soft lullaby will follow just behind your eyes, forever returning, forever home. Sleep gently now, beneath the golden canopy of time, where even the gods once paused to dream. Let the lull of the Nile carry you softly past memories and monuments, past papyrus groves and celestial charts, until only breath and quiet remain. What endures tonight is not history inscribed in stone, but peace etched into the folds of your resting heart. The journey has quieted, the stars have closed their eyes, and you, beloved dreamer, may follow. Let go completely now, into a rest untouched by worry or word, wrapped in linen and vastness, where tomorrow waits patiently beyond morning's veil. Egypt's hymn fades into silence at last, and in that silence, a new dream begins. And in this softest silence, wrapped utterly in golden hush, we take our final leave of ancient Egypt, not as a place on a map, but as a rhythm in the soul. Its sands have sifted through the chambers of our thoughts. Its sky has turned above us in slow, radiant arcs, and its voices have become the quiet undercurrent of our dreams. What endures is no longer buried, nor distant, but lovingly sewn into the seams of rest, a legacy not of conquest, but of stillness, of eternity, shaped by gentle hands and watched over by endless stars. So now, sleep fully, sleep freely, knowing the vastness that cradled empires now holds you just as tenderly. Beneath the final veil, in the hush beyond knowing, may Egypt's timeless lullaby keep watch over your slumber, a lasting whisper, softly spoken, forever within and forever enough. Here, in the final breath before sleep claims every trace of thought, the story of ancient Egypt dims gently, like the last lamp flickering in a quiet chapel of stars. There is no need to journey further, for all that was vast has now been drawn close, compressed, not into facts, but into the expanding quiet that fills your chest. Every whisper of wind across stone, every petal on the sacred lotus, every gaze sculpted into temple walls, all now live tenderly within you. So let this closing night be the soft seal of all you've gathered, a silence weighted not with ending, but with fullness. Sleep now, entirely and deeply, under the gaze of ancient gods who once watched over dreamers just like you. May your breath move like the Nile, may your body rest like the pyramids in moonlight, and may your dreams carry you where time has long stopped counting into the still heart of forever, where Egypt waits with a smile as soft as sleep itself. And now, the sands fall still. The stars have whispered all they had to say. Egypt, timeless cradle of quiet wonder, softens into the dream from which all stillness flows. You have wandered far on wings not of haste, but of light through temples of moon and reed, along rivers remembered by sleep. The final candle burns low, its flame warm, flickering with the echo of sacred chants long gone yet always heard. What was told may dissolve into the silence, but the feeling, the rhythm, the peace, these remain. Close your eyes once more beneath this eternal sky. Let the hush of history cradle you, and rest knowing that some dreams outlast time, and some stories, told in this quiet, never truly end. Sleep forever gently, held by the breath of an ancient world that now lives lovingly inside you still, golden and eternal. Under moonlit silence and the hush of palms barely stirring, let us offer one final breath of gratitude to the land that taught the world to move slowly, to listen deeply, and to revere the gentle glow of mystery. Egypt rests now as you do whole, dreaming, wrapped in the fabric of timeless stillness. What began with stars twinkling above temple walls ends with the quiet pulse of peace echoing softly within you. There is nothing left to say, and nothing more you need, just this. Rest, deeply and without end, for the journey has become part of you, and the quiet it brought now flows endlessly, like the Nile beneath stars serene, sacred, forever home. So slip fully now into the final curve of this long, gentle journey where the voices of gods and the stillness of stone rest together in one everlasting silence. There is no border between waking and dreaming, only a soft unfolding, like petals drifting into dusk. The sands are calm, the stars breathe in long, drawn cycles. And you, dear traveler of quiet time, are entirely cradled in a universe absent of hurry. The ancient world has folded into you now, not to weigh you down, but to soothe, like a lullaby whispered across 10,000 years. So rest, without memory or urgency, beneath the sacred hush of a sky that has watched over dreamers for all of eternity. Let the last sigh of Egypt become your own. Sleep completely and truly, beneath a silence that holds the past, the present, and the infinite in its golden breath. Let this be the final exhale, the last golden breath borne gently across the centuries. Ancient Egypt, with its slow rhythms and sacred quietude, has told its story not in urgent drumbeats, but in the hush of eternity. Every temple now rests, every scroll is rolled, every statue sleeps in the amber light of memory. And you too now lie in perfect stillness, heart beating in unison with a past that moves not in noise but in grace. Breathe once more, as if alongside the priests of old, the boatmen, the drummers, the nameless hands that shaped time from stone, there is nothing left to uncover, no corner of legend untouched. Only peace, vast and silent, stretching across the soul like the desert beneath an endless sky. Let yourself be held there, gently and quietly, where the journey folds into dream and dream folds into forever. Sleep now, beloved dreamer, and be, simply, light in starlit linen, turning slowly with the universe, ancient, present, and eternal. And so, as the last echoes of reed flutes fade and the golden glow of ancient memory softens into the night, we offer our final sigh long and light, like desert wind brushing past forgotten doorways. This journey, carved in quiet awe and painted with stardust, does not end here, but simply dissolves into you, a hush beneath the voice, a rhythm behind the breath. Egypt remains not as a place to visit, nor a story to retell, but as a presence to feel when the world grows still. Let this quiet cloak you now linen-like, weightless, warm, and know that you are safe among the silences of gods, the dreams of scribes, and the eternal heartbeat of a river that never stops flowing. Good night, sacred traveler. Rest fully, rest truly, and may the peace of the ancients guard your slumber always, like stars keeping vigil above forgotten sands, forever soft, forever home. And now, as the veil of sleep draws close and the sands of our shared journey slip through the quietest corners of time, let this closing comfort linger like the scent of myrrh on a cool breeze. You have walked slowly with pharaohs and sages, watched stars rise like promises, and held, even if only in thought, the sacred stillness that once wrapped an entire world in awe. There is no need for words now, only this breath, steady and deep, echoing the heartbeats that filled the temples of old. Let your mind rest in the same soft place where scrolls were unrolled at dawn, where lotus blossoms closed at nightfall, and where silence was never absence, but a gift. Sleep, timeless and whole, with the hush of desert winds at your back and the ancient Nile beneath you, flowing gently toward dreams untold. In this quiet, Egypt lives on not as ruins, but as rhythm, and within that rhythm, you too have found your forever pause. Good night, now and always. In this final breath, as the sands still and stars hang unmoving in their celestial hush, may you carry the deep tranquility of Egypt, not as memory, but as music, a song too quiet to hear, but too beautiful to forget. Let the slow rhythm of ancient footsteps echo softly in your sleep, not to awaken, but to cradle. With the river's calm current in your chest, and the temple stones resting gently in your bones, you are complete. The desert moon has lowered its gaze, and all the voices of time have whispered you toward peace. Close your eyes now, watched over by gods of ink and flame, stone and starlight. Here, in this eternal silence where no endings truly exist, rest fully, sleep deeply. The journey is behind you, the hush is ahead, and you, dreamer of old worlds, are home. So now, with every tale told and every breath drawn beneath eternal stars, we close this voyage with the softest silence of all the kind that waits not to be filled, but simply to embrace. Ancient Egypt, woven gently into the fabric of your dreams, leaves its final imprint not as knowledge, but as calm. Every whisper of reed, every flicker of torchlight, every rhythm of chisel and flute has become part of a vast hush that now surrounds you. There is no farther to go, no deeper to seek. You are already within the sanctum the ancients built, not with gold or stone, but with stillness. Sleep now beneath a sky that remembers and a wind that watches. Let your last thought float like a papyrus boat into the night, timeless and tender. The journey is over, beloved listener, yet it echoes on, forever, in quiet. And as all breath slows to match the Nile's eternal pace, let this final stillness wrap around you like the night sky draped across the desert. Nothing moves now except dreams gentler than starlight, and they carry you not forward but inward, where time is a circle and peace has no edge. In the hush beyond knowledge, beyond names, beyond needs, you are simply part of the rhythm, a resting heartbeat in the great cosmic hymn. Let the quiet hold, let the stillness deepen, and let yourself be erased gently into sleep, not gone, but return to the place where the stars first sang and the sand first whispered. Good night, radiant soul. May the rest that meets you now be wide as the sky, soft as temple shade, and everlasting as the silence between every golden breath. And so, with every gentle echo and every whispered legend now folded into your breath, we offer the final blessing upon this dream-touched path. The journey through Egypt's tranquil marvels has not ended, but merely become part of your deeper self, not preserved in memory, but in sensation, the way incense clings to robes or starlight traces the curve of stone. Let this last breath, long and soft, seal what cannot be said, only felt, the quiet reverence for time that lingers like a hush in sun-warmed halls. Tonight, and in nights to come, may your rest be guided by lotus blossoms that close with dusk, by sacred creatures that move like thoughts across still water, and by gods who do not speak loudly, but only nod through silence. Sleep now, endlessly and with ease, as Egypt slips beneath the surface of dream, waiting, always, to rise again on the first breath of morning light. And now, wrapped in the final breath of this endless hush, we allow the last grains of golden time to fall gracefully into their place. The journey has folded inward into a silence more ancient than stone, more enduring than stars, a silence that needs no story, only presence. As your eyelids grow heavier than any obelisk and your breath slows like the Nile at midnight, you rest not at the end, but at the center of rhythm, of memory, of a sacred stillness that sings with the voice of history hushed. Sleep now, not as one departing, but as one arriving into the heart of forever, where peace knows your name without needing to speak it. Beneath this vaulted sky of dreams, you are home, always and again. Good night, dear soul. Rest endlessly and be well within the gentle arms of eternity. And as the final veil closes, so softly it cannot be heard, all becomes still once more: the air, the stars, the breath within this sacred night. Ancient Egypt has passed not like time, but like shadow, unhurried, graceful, never truly leaving. You too remain in that sacred stillness, touched by the echo of obelisks, by the hush of temple courtyards, by the lullaby long sung beneath desert moons. In this final hush, there is no more seeking, only dwelling within memory, within peace, within a clockless calm, vast as eternity. Let this lingering silence be your dream's cradle, and let rest stretch wide as the night horizon. Sleep in the arms of hush-born gods and stone-shaped prayers. Sleep now, gently, deeply, without end. Egypt is silent. You are safe. And the stars, as always, are still watching. With the final beat of silence falling into place like a pearl in moonlit sand, the great story becomes still, harmonia wrapped in all that remains unspoken. Egypt, veiled in slumber and echoing in breath, drifts now not toward an ending, but into the eternal pause, soft, absolute. The temples no longer shimmer in candlelight, nor do the stars demand to be named. They simply are, as you are, resting in rhythm. Let this be the last moment before sleep claims the entire sky, a moment outside of time where peace is not a destination but a companion. There is no call to awaken, no urgency to remember, only the warmth of ancient hush surrounding you in full. Lay down your thinking now, fold it gently beneath what cannot be measured, the hush that endures, the breath that soothes, the silence that welcomes. Sleep in this final quiet where even dreams dare not stir the dust. You are home, the story has spoken, the night is sacred, and within it you can simply be. And here, in this breathless hush where light and memory dissolve, all that remains is serenity vast and weightless. Egypt, in her sacred quiet, has not so much faded as folded herself into your resting soul, like linen wrapped round a sleeping form. The holy winds are still, the river no longer stirs, and the stars have bowed their heads to watch you dream. There is no curtain call, no final candle, only the lasting hush of all that was told, gently humming beneath your peace. Sleep now, beloved traveler, and let not even thought disturb this sacred hush. You are cradled in silence. You are held in eternity. The journey is complete and forever begins in the stillness of your last sigh. So in this final, golden moment before silence becomes complete, let the legacy of ancient Egypt rest not in story but sensation, a warmth in your chest, a patience in your breath, a reverence that lingers without need for sound. Every star above, every ripple below, every whisper etched in stone has now become part of your inner stillness. You no longer hold the past at arm's length, but wear it like a whisper-soft robe woven of time itself. There is nothing more to say, nothing more to hold, only sleep, vast and eternal, stretching gently within you. Egypt has exhaled, the journey is gone quiet, and you, tired traveler, have arrived not at the edge but at the very heart of forever. Now, with every echo stilled and the last shimmer of golden breath dissolved into night, we release the story entirely, letting it drift through the desert air like a final incense offering to the stars. Egypt has spoken in stillness, in symmetry, in soft eternal breath, and now it fades into presence. Not an ending, but absorption. You hold it now not as memory, but as rhythm, the measured tide of peace beneath all thought. Sink fully into the embrace of this endless hush, where no gods call, no history pushes forward, and no time remains to be counted. There is only being, only breath, only warmth. Let yourself vanish gently into that quiet, not lost, but fully found within the sacred folds of silence, where sleep transcends even dreaming. Here, in the heart of the eternal, wrapped in the hush of an age long gone yet forever close, your rest becomes the final temple. And here, beloved dreamer, you remain whole, still, and home. And so, in this last breath-like silence, Egypt becomes not a story but a space wide, timeless, and gently lit by inner suns. You carry the hush of temple corridors, the rhythm of lotus petals opening at dawn, the glint of starlight off water that no longer moves. There is no next chapter, no more pages to turn. Only this, the sacred pause, that wraps around all that came before. Let it be enough. Let it be everything. Sleep now, wrapped not in endings, but in the soft echo of a world that lived through stillness, and now lives quietly within you. Good night, dreamer. You are held, you are home, and the hush will hum for you forever. And now, with the last hush laid tenderly across the sands of your thoughts and the stars dimming softly behind your closing eyes, we step fully into silence. No more myth, no more murmur, only the vast peace that follows a long and sacred remembering. You have wandered hand in hand with ancient time, not to uncover, but to rest, and now you dwell not in story but in stillness. All is held, all is whole. Let your breath be the final hieroglyph, written not on walls but deep within the temple of your sleep. Sleep now, completely and forever enough, where no voice calls, and every moment is soft as starlit linen brushing the soul. The journey is complete. You are home. Good night, Eternal One. And so we come to rest, completely, in the holy hush of all things past and dreamt. Ancient Egypt, with its stars and sands, temples and tenderness, has given us every whisper it once held in stone and silence. There is no need now to recall dates or deeds, only to remain nested in the rhythm it taught one of patience, of reverence, of drifting gently toward the eternal. Sleep now, with no more thoughts, no more words. Let what has been spoken settle like dusk upon your spirit, and let the deep night hold you as time once held the river and the stars. The dream is whole, the journey is over, and the silence, always, is enough. So now, no sound remains, no shadow stirs, and only this, the breathless, endless silence that is not an absence, but a return. The journey through Egypt's ancient calm has not faded, but has gently become you, a rhythm beneath your rest, a shimmer held behind the hush of your heart. There are no more temples to visit, no more stars to name, only the presence of peace, humming softly where once there were stories. Sleep now, deeply and without end, for you no longer travel across the sands, you dream within them. You are not a visitor to stillness, but a keeper of it, wrapped in the same timeless breath that lulled pharaohs and sages to stillness beneath the same sky. This is not a conclusion, but a lingering, a forever hush. And here, beloved soul, may your rest be wide as eternity itself. And thus we rest upon the final whisper of this sacred sojourn, where Egypt no longer speaks aloud, but breathes through the quiet between your heartbeats. All has been given stone turned to silence, story turned to stillness, night turned to gold. The gods sleep now, their watch eternal but without urgency, their temples emptied not of meaning but of noise. You are not outside the story anymore, dear soul, but part of it woven gently into its hush, its rhythm, its ever-returning calm. So sleep now, beneath a sky unchanged for millennia, embraced not by endings but by the echo of dreams too soft for waking. Let Egypt remain with you, not behind as memory, but within as peace, endless and complete. And here, where all things ancient dissolve gently into breathless stillness, let this final silence enfold you completely. As though drawn in soft linen and starlight, the story of Egypt lives now only as the rhythm in your rest, moving quietly through dream. There is nothing left to wander, nowhere further to be, only this sacred pause, vast and golden, where the river no longer flows but hums deep within your heart. May every whisper of temple breeze, every echo of reed flute, and every flicker of starlight remind you, even in slumber, that peace is eternal and presence is enough. Sleep now, beloved wanderer, and be fully cradled in the hush of ages, the kind that needs no voice to be remembered, only a breath to be known. The journey ends not in silence, but becomes silence, and in that silence you are home. So let this final silence be the resting place, not just for stories well told, but for the quiet within you now awakened. Ancient Egypt has not slipped away. It has simply folded back into the hush from which it came, and you, gentle sleeper, have folded along with it. There is no trace to follow, no light to chase, only the vast, velvety dark of night that holds truth without demanding words. Sleep now, not as escape, but as arrival into a realm where every whisper becomes sacred wind, where dreams bloom like lotus in slow time, and where the rhythm of the Nile pulses softly inside your breath. The tale is over, the hush enduring. You are held, you are home, and you are finally, completely, at peace. And now, with the final whisper exhaled and the ancient hush fully gathered around, we close the scroll of sleep-woven stories. Egypt, that land of golden breath and sky-drawn time, returns to its sacred stillness, not gone, but resting within your own slow rhythm. You have not simply heard history, you have slept inside it, breathed through its temples, and floated on its timeless river. There is no more road to follow, no more stars to measure, only stillness, held between heartbeats, lingered like dusk on stone. Let that stillness be your companion tonight, and always, as you drift beyond even the edges of dream, into the infinite pause where peace lives without question. Sleep now, endlessly, in the hush that holds all things, where even the gods are quiet, and you, at last, are fully home. And here, on the final edge of this luminous quiet, we offer no words but presence, the kind that lasts beyond sound, beyond thought, and even beyond sleep itself. Ancient Egypt, now resting not in scrolls or stone, but in the hush behind your every breath, needs no farewell. It endures as a softness you carry inward, like sunlight remembered on closed eyelids. Let what remains be simply this, the calm certainty that you have arrived, not at an end, but at a beginning too subtle to be spoken. Sleep now, dear dreamer, completely and with ease. The journey fades, the hush deepens, and the eternal sky vast, velvet, and still keeps watch. You are home, you are whole, and the silence, at last, is enough. And in this very last breath, as the sands lie undisturbed, and the stars offer no more to tell, all becomes peace. Egypt, ancient and unwavering, has returned to quietude, not because she is forgotten, but because she is fully remembered, not in names or dates, but in the way your breath slows now, sinking with a world that once spun in silence and starlight. You have listened long, wandered deep, and held the eternal hush close, cradled like the yearning for soft sleep. So let go now, completely, not into night, but into something gentler, a hush without boundary, a silence so wide it becomes warmth. Let the temples close their doors, let the river slip beyond the veil, and let your heart rest calm, unburdened, and eternal. Sleep, beautiful dreamer, dream within a history that holds you like a lullaby. Egypt is quiet, you are still, and now, with all stories spoken, sleep carries you home. So rest now, gentle soul, in the final hush where all journeys breathe their last soft note and become part of the stillness they once sought. The temple bells no longer ring, the flutes no longer call, and even the wind itself folds quietly like linen around the bones of memory. You are not listening anymore, you are simply being adrift in rhythm, older than time and deeper than forgetting. Let this night hold you without thought, without edge, and without end, for you are not ending, you are dissolving into peace. No need for one last word, only this silence, sacred and endless. Egypt sleeps, the stars keep watch, and you, dear dreamer, are home at last. And finally, as the softest shadow passes over the sands and the last stirrings of mind fall quiet, we close this sacred scroll of dreams at the threshold of deepest rest. There are no more echoes, only the warmth of silence surrounding you like golden dusk across an endless plain. The story is now yours, not to repeat, but to feel, whenever breath slows and stars return overhead. Sleep not as an ending, but as reunion, where history, heart, and hush become one. Egypt has offered its timeless peace, and you have received it fully. So gently now, let go into warmth, into stillness, into eternity itself. Good night, beautiful soul, the journey is complete. And as all echoes fall into stillness, the voice of time dims, and the breath of the desert quiets into hush. Let this be the closing cradle of our journey. You, who have traveled far by way of dream and listening, now lie still beneath the same eternal stars once watched by gods and mortals alike. Egypt remains, not as distant past, but as a golden hush within your resting heart, a quiet tide flowing beneath sleep, carrying with it fragments of sandstone, starlight, and song. Let there be no more direction needed, no more sound to guide. This is the center, the calm, the forever hush. Feel it soften every thought, slow every heartbeat, and widen every breath. The gods watch not with judgment, but with silence. The Nile moves not with urgency, but with grace. And you, timeless, weightless, whole, are already at peace. Sleep deeply now, beloved one. Sleep where dreams glisten like scarabs in sandlight, where the night holds more than the day ever could. Sleep where Egypt hums not loudly, but gently, always within you. And so the story drifts to its close, not with a conclusion, but with a soft continuation inside the stillness you now wear like a second skin. All that was ancient has folded itself into silence. The temples sleep, the lotus closes, and the stars no longer shine to be seen, but simply to guide the hush. Time has softened its edge, and you, gentle listener, now float in the fullest peace, not as a visitor to the past, but as a keeper of its calm. Let this final hush be your sacred wrap, tender as dusk on worn stone, as eternal as the breath you take now. There is nothing more, only everything wrapped in quiet. Sleep now, endlessly, and let Egypt's ancient whisper carry you far beyond dreaming, where nothing is needed and all is whole. And here, in this final, weightless moment where sound no longer stirs and all things shine without motion, we place the last grain in the hourglass, the last hush upon the hush. Egypt has not vanished behind us, but has whispered its way home within, like incense lingering long after flames retreat. Every temple is folded into stillness. Every god rests now beside you, not as image, but as peace. The sands dream on, the Nile hums softly through time unseen, and the stars lean low, not to light the sky, but to watch your sleep. So breathe now, without thought or effort, a breath as old as the sun itself, slow, deep, final for this night. Let the scroll close quietly, and sleep, not held by story anymore, but by silence itself. This is the end of telling, and the beginning of being whole, still, beloved. Good night. And in this final hush, where longing ceases and breath becomes barely a ripple in the ocean of sleep, we let go fully of names, of time, of even the soft weight of memory. What began in golden temples and under starlit skies has dissolved into presence, not what was seen or said, but what was felt in stillness. Let the echo of Egypt's soft wisdom nestle now in your soul's quiet chambers, where nothing must be remembered because everything has already become part of the rhythm that lulls you. No further dreaming is needed. The dream has become you. Rest, now and always, not in the arms of history, but in the sacred hush it leaves behind. This is the last breath of the journey, and it is enough. And now, dear listener, the final hush settles like dust upon stone, unbroken and everlasting. There is no more journey to take, for peace has already found you. The sounds of temple chants, of water lapping against sacred boats, of soft footsteps on carved stone, have faded into silence too complete to echo. Let everything that has been shared now fall away gently, as petals sink into still water. You are not leaving this story, you are joining it, not as observer, but as quiet keeper of its calm. Sleep with the grace of forgotten gods and the patience of stars, knowing the ancient hush holds you in its heart. Let your breath deepen once more, let thought dissolve, and let everything become still. The story is complete, the silence is whole, and you, beloved dreamer, are finally and forever at rest. And with this final breath, soft as the wind over desert ruins, our journey concludes completely, not in finale, but in stillness beyond telling. Egypt rests within you now as rhythm, as warmth, as hush, a gentle presence shaped by tales older than memory and dreams quieter than sound. The temples sleep, the sacred waters settle, and all that remains is you resting beneath stars that have watched over pharaohs and poets alike. Let the silence stretch out forever, tender and wide, a cradle of peace that asks nothing and gives everything. Sleep now, beloved soul. The story has ended exactly as it was always meant to, not with a voice but with silence, not with a farewell but with a homecoming. You are safe, you are held, and the hush of Egypt, timeless and true, will hum in your heart gently, always. And now, as the very last light of thought fades like candle smoke in temple air, let this moment be nothing but breath and being. We have wandered through sacred corridors and starlit myths, past lotus pools and whispering sands, and with every step, peace has unfolded like a scroll in the dark. There is nothing left to seek, no sound left to hear. Only this hush, the kind that lingers in the space between heartbeats and drapes over the soul like the night sky over ancient Thebes. May your sleep be vast and unending, wrapped in the quiet grace of a world that asked only this of its dreamers, to slow, to soften, and to remember. So close your eyes now, dear traveller, and drift not away, but deeper within, where Egypt hums forever in quietude, and the breath of eternity holds you like the softest silk. Good night, now and always. The story is complete. And at last, with quiet so complete it feels sacred, the journey dissolves into nothing but stillness. No sound remains but the breath you carry, and no presence lingers but the quiet within. Egypt has spoken all it came to say, not in warnings or triumphs, but in calm, generous silence. In this final fold of dream and dusk, may the hush become your home, not an echo, but a warmth, a rhythm you can return to whenever the world grows loud. Sleep now, holy and beyond reason, resting deeper than memory and longer than stars. The scroll has closed, the sands are still, and the Nile drifts softly beneath a sky that no longer needs to speak. Good night, eternal traveler. The hush of forever has found you, and all is beautifully, endlessly at peace. And so, with the breath of ages now wrapped gently around your rest, we draw the final curtain on this long and sacred journey. Egypt, luminous and eternal, folds once more into silence, not lost, but living softly in the spaces between dreams. Let what you carry now not be facts or images, but the hush itself, the hush that glowed in temples, moved in reeds, drifted in incense. Sleep, not as departure, but as deep arrival, where all is stilled and every mystery is already known. The Nile flows on in hush, unseen, and the stars remain where you left them above, watching, waiting, wrapped in peace. Good night, gentle soul. The story is no longer spoken because now you are part of it forever, in the hush. And now, with the hush stretched wide as the desert sky and the final grains of thought falling softly into stillness, let this moment serve as the gentle seal at the end of a timeless dream. You have wandered through a world etched in starlight and silence, and in doing so, have found a quieter self resting beneath. Egypt no longer calls for memory or voice. It simply lays beside you now, as breath, as hush, as eternity, folded delicately into presence. No more words are needed, no more stories remain. Only sleep, whole and complete, rising like sunlight over endless sand. Good night, beloved listener, and may the hush hold you, always. So here, wrapped fully in the hush of this ancient night, we give the final offering not of gold or word, but of calm. The story has breathed its final breath, not with sound, but with silence touched by memory. Egypt rests now, everywhere around and within you, a sacred echo in the rhythm of your sleep. Let no more thought stir, no more image rise, only let the stillness linger, soft as desert wind across closed eyes. You have arrived, not at a place, but at a peace measured not in clocks, but in stars. The hush is now complete. You are home. Sleep endlessly in the arms of the eternal. And so, at the still point between past and dream, let the final silence fall gently as stardust upon the soul. There is no sound now, only the echo of presence, vast and golden, resting in the breath between all motion. You have walked with gods, listened to rivers that remember, and felt the hush that outlives every empire. Egypt has folded herself into your breath, your quiet heartbeat, your deepest sleep. Let that be enough. Let that be everything. Now, no voices speak, no words remain, only peace, patient and eternal, blooming forever in the temple of your rest. Sleep now, sweet dreamer, in the hush beyond the hush, and know that you are never alone. The story sleeps within you, and you within it. The hush holds, always. And thus, in the final shimmer of this endless dusk, we leave the ancient world not behind, but around us, diffused into breath, woven into stillness. There is no farewell here, only the hush of completion, as soft and enduring as the first ripple on the morning Nile. You have walked through moonlit memories and golden truths, so gently told that they now live within you, weightless and eternal. Sleep, dearest soul, with no more questions and no more seeking. The sands are quiet, the stars are still, and you, wrapped in the patient silence of 1,000 years, are finally, blessedly, at peace. Let all be hush now, let all be rest. And now, as the very last moment of this sacred journey settles into silence, we allow Egypt's eternal hush to become the cradle for your final breath before sleep. There are no more altars to approach, no more stars to name, only the soft rhythm of rest rising in you, ancient and slow. Let all that was told melt like gold in sunset, and let what remains be not story, but peace. Your breath is a temple now, your stillness a scroll written in hush. Sleep gently, lovingly, and completely, for within this end lies the oldest truth, that what is quiet never disappears. It simply waits, within you, forever humming, forever home.